We're going to say something to you, of course different from Matthew and Jane last week. So next week we have Keng Yi, so this week we have from India, Kushan. Next week we have China, Vietnamese, Singapore, all kinds of people they got it. So we will see what are the common things they have. Okay?
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, why nobody clap?
Thank you, Professor, for your kind introduction and giving me the opportunity to come down here and talk about the module with the objective of giving the current batch an understanding of what to expect from the module, how I approached it, and also how to excel in essay writing and hopefully deconstruct the process. So firstly, what to expect. Now, besides the lectures which are really entertaining, IPE is actually a very academically challenging module to some, which it does require the intellectual exercise of critically analyzing various fundamental theories, such as vocabularism, which I believe you guys were just going through, liberalism, Marxism, hegemony, stability theory, historical materialism, as well as new emerging concepts, such as feminism and environmentalism, and also reading through essential reading materials, as well as contemporary economic history, in order to write essays that combine insights and patterns from the past as we try to uncover the present political economy and what hopefully tomorrow could look like through this multifaceted approach, through a predictable and structured framework, which is using all of the above. And your work also has to reflect this standard and showcase your ability to have rich arguments and deliver sound judgment on global affairs and subjects pertaining to the international economy, because the examiners are often people who have studied the subject for decades, looking for new and interesting insights. And if you can provide robust arguments, you can actually easily score first class. You will need to be abreast of current affairs and have a good understanding of the evolving trends in the global economy in order to apply your analysis effectively. And that should hopefully produce stellar literary works, like research journal type of essays. So, and of course, most importantly, just go through Professor Sam's notes. So the last thing I did before I answered the exam was I just read through the entire thing from start to finish, and I went in there hoping I would pass, and I guess I did more than pass, so that was good. I was fortunate. So IPE also helps explain the current rules-based world order and the superstructures, namely the financial structure, things like the relative system, the trade structure, the production structure, and the security structure that govern the rules of international engagement, and is a very real framework that we all live, whether it's directly or indirectly. And it also looks into the evolution of the same. So prior to World War I, how you saw the failure of the League of Nations, as well as 1947 rules-based world order. So it's very interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun to read through, and it also helps you to understand the challenges that today's constantly changing world sees. I mean, it's becoming more multipolar. It's becoming a lot more certain. So it helps explain also how state and non-state actors shape global affairs, as well as the role of several institutions, such as the United Nations, the UNSC, World Bank, the IMF, WTO, ICG, and also regionalism and institutions such as NATO, EU, ASEAN, G7, G20, among others, along with states and markets that they shape international affairs. So the comprehensive nature of combining the fundamental theories, the institutions, is what makes this subject very essential if you're studying international relations, which is why it was compulsory module, and it's a very invaluable elective if you're studying economics. And of course, why study the module? So there is a Chinese saying, 如行归来的人越处法其义不同. The person who returns from the journey isn't the one as he who left. And I can assure you that this module, that if you study it and you do it well, is one that can challenge your current worldview and also change how you look at the world. I can assure you that if done correctly, you will become immensely pragmatic about the world and develop what I feel is like a very true sense of realism, which I think is the best way to live your life. And it's also what Susan Strange always talked about, that ultimately you will become a mercantilist when you have to, you will become a liberal when you have to, you will become Marxist when you have to, you will become a hegemon when you have to, you will become whoever you have to be if it's in your interest and if it benefits you. And I think ultimately when you read the theories over and over again and understand them so well, you will understand that ultimately realism or the understanding of interest is what will really shape your ability to answer, in order to write your essays. It's understanding who benefits, straight moral. So, understanding interests, the institutions, the theories are a short way you can definitely excel at this module. And what you learn about is essentially individuals and their interests and what ultimately drives markets and economic outcomes. So you will learn about human nature and how states act in order to control these individuals, along with controlling other states within a system, and how political policies are shaped in order to desire economic outcomes. So it's definitely something that you will have a great time understanding. It makes you more aware about the world. It makes you more pragmatic. I think that's a wonderful example to have. And I think if you had to work in, let's say, research or investment strategy for fixed income or currencies, for example, or engage yourself in international institutions, it's a great plus to have. And I will want to give an example. I'm sure you have multiple examples from Professor Sam, but of actually George Soros. And he's a controversial figure. And he's seen with some criticism, and you will study about it in the IPE as well. You look at the Asian financial crisis, which pretty much affected a lot of us here in Southeast Asia. And what he did was, he also bet against the pound a few whales back. However, I see him as an individual who understood the market and the world and made his money, despite the consequences to others. And ultimately, he was actually a philosopher. He was studying much of the theories you are studying about and will study about now. And the way he saw the world was, again, as Professor Suzuki mentioned, it's not about one country versus the other. It's not about whether you're a capitalist or a liberal or a mercantilist or whoever you are. Ultimately, it's your interests and how are you able to see the world that will determine how you can shape the path ahead of you. And I think what IPE does, it does give you a very good macro picture of the world. And yeah, it's one that you can really, in conclusion, have a lot of use from, whether you're working in, let's say, government, policy making, central banking, in international institutions, academia, and think tanks. The applications are vast, and ultimately, the deeper and more aware you are, the deeper you can see the world, the more aware you are, ultimately will determine how well you approach the module. And yeah, I think that's ultimately what it is. And coming back to your essays, I think you guys have an assignment now?
No assignments.
No assignments yet, but when you do, it's actually quite a straightforward process. You understand the theories, you understand the interests, you understand the institutions, you understand interests mostly, you understand who's gaining, and if you're able to apply that to a theory, it's good enough. And I think that you guys will all do fabulous. I mean, just listen to Professor Sam. He is, he is very unorthodox way of teaching, and it is something that is, very bold statements, but the ability to back them with data and facts ultimately is what matters. And that's one more thing I want to tell you guys is be fearless, but with logic. Logically fearless, basically. So you have an intelligent argument. Don't be afraid to use it in your essay, to following the structure, and you can't work against the system, I suppose. Very few can. So defeat the system by working through the system. So I think that's ultimately what you will have to do. And I hope you guys do extremely well. Read through, and if none of the above, just go through the lecture notes you pass already. Yeah? Okay, thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.